Now, the next section in this is being able to create a session and get started with your analysis. To do that, you simply click on the new session. And when you click on the new session, it brings you to this very simple container or form, if you will, that allows you to fill in the analysis that you want to perform and include dataset. And don't worry, if you don't want to use your real dataset, you don't have to worry about that. You can create, so if you leave this empty, automatically our sample dataset gets used. So you don't have to worry about it. But if you do have original dataset, you can upload it at this time. So I'm going to get started by typing in the name of the session or analysis. So I'm going to call it tests. I've been doing a lot of stuff with metformin, so I could see tests and the test pop PK or NCA. Okay, test NCA for metformin. And here my compound is metformin. And my analysis type is NCA. Software stack is already selected. Currently, we have this fixed, but in the future, we would be letting users select what software they would like to use in the particular analysis. And as an agent, you could leave the dataset optional. You could leave it empty, and we are going to provide you with your sample dataset. Now, the next step is the human in the loop, which simply asks you, do you want to be in the loop while the analysis is being performed, or you just want the AI to do everything by itself? For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to let AI do everything. So I'm going to unselect human in the loop, which means it doesn't pause. It just goes on and on and on until it's done with my analysis. Create session. You see that the moment I say create session, it proceeds to working on the analysis. And I'm going to show you quickly what it does. I'm just going to expand this a little bit to show you a few of the things that you can do here. As you can see, currently it's already working on the analysis and is just preparing my project right now. And you can see currently that a medical writer is working, and it's simply trying to create a sample analysis done for me in the background, which you're going to find out in a few seconds just what it's doing, because when it's done, it's going to give you it's going to let you know what it's done so far. So it's finished, and what was done is that you know what? I'm going to stop it here, actually. I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to halt, which stops the LLM from working, which stops the LLM from working. And I'm going to simply explain to you what just happened. Now, when I created the analysis, as you can see, it got started by itself because, again, I declared human in the loop off, which means that it can work by itself. And so we have 6 agents, and you just select the first one, which was the program manager that you saw. And the program manager worked to create the checklist. Right after creating the checklist, which you can see here, we have a number of things in the checklist. And for the checklists, we have the data analysis plan, documentation. We have the data preparations and checks. We have the exploratory data analysis. And there we have the non-compartmental analysis, and there we have reported. Simple. And that's what you saw the program manager created. Once that was completed, now it turned it over to the medical writer, which you see here. The medical writer was asked to create the pharmacometrics analysis, which is the first item here. And it created that. As you can see, it tells you proceeding with the analysis plan has been generated and saved. As you can see, it covers these different sections. as needed, and you can see that it takes into account the sample data set that was used. So it knows everything, and based on that, it created the analysis plan, which I'm going to show you in a second. But moving on, the data that it used also was called the generated data set. So you generally get a data set using our mini application, which you can take a look, because by clicking that, once you click it, you can take a look at the data itself, and you can see what it contains. That it took advantage of that to create the data sets, and it wrote the analysis plan for us. Now, turning it back to Paul. Paul is actually the main agent. So think of Paul as the chief scientist. And what he does is to delegate tasks to different agents and tell them what to do. So what happens is when you send a request to the AI, Paul receives that request and processes it. And based on that request, it assigns the most useful agent to work on that specific request. And in this case, it assigned a medical writer to write your analysis plan because the medical writer is very good at that. And now it then further dispatched a program manager, which program manager is just checking what has been generated from what has been generated so far and see if there's any summaries to perform. That you can actually you can remove that task if you want to. So you can delete a task and say, please do not perform this. So typically with human in the loop, you could take your time and walk through the different checklists and see if that's what you want. And it's a little bit complex at first, but once you take a look further and just spend more time in it, you would understand better that with human in the loop, you could make edits to the different checklist items, or you can tell the AI not to perform them. So you could tell AI to delete this section, for example, which means that in the task that it's performing, it's just going to skip the data preparation and checks. You can also tell it to make edits to particular task, and it's going to take that into account. So that's the whole point of the autonomous AI, pharmacometrics analysis is that, and a checklist is created which the AI works through. But at any point, you can actually interrupt the AI and say, "Do this for me instead of this." And you're going to have Paul as your chief scientist, who delegates your tasks to different AI agents to get them done. So that's for the checklists, and analysis just documents whatever is happening. So if Paul is working, you're going to see that in analysis. And if the project manager is working, you're going to see that as well. So everything is going to appear here. Now, I'm going to go to your file system. In your file system, you see that, as I mentioned, you have the sample data set. You also have the generated data sets that the AI just proceeded to generate based on our request. So we'll quickly look at the sample data sets, and you see sample data sets contains these data sets. And the generated data sets was generated actually using our dataset generator. So you just keep it generates and select whatever kind of data you want to generate, and that's going to generate it for you. So that was done, and now that it's completed, we also have the analysis plan, and you can quickly see that the analysis plan that was created for the NCA is right here. And it's up to the user to make edits to this analysis plan. You can simply go to the source and edit this analysis plan as needed. But this is the analysis plan that was generated. And based on that, the AI is going to try to work to accomplish the analysis plan. With that, the AI is going to proceed with the analysis, and it's going to generate whatever script it needs and run those scripts for you. You're going to see the results in your plots, in your tables as needed. And at the end, Paul is going to always keep you in the loop. What's going on? Whatever is done, or which agent he's trying to schedule for the next task. So Paul is the person in charge, and he takes care of your needs. Okay, so that's for your file system. At the end of the day, if you wanted to download everything, you could download your whole file as a zip. Of course, you can also do this from your file system. So that's up to the user to do that. But this download is probably not needed since you have your file system on your desktop. Now, I'm going to go through the other buttons that you can hopefully use to accomplish your task. For example, you have the help button, which allows you to open the documentation. So if you need help, the first place that you probably should go is the help documentation, which would tell you a little bit more about what's going on in the application and how to resolve any issues that you may have. Of course, if you're not able to resolve your issue just by looking at the help documentation, we also have our email that you can reach us at. The email is located in the help, but is also located when you go back to the first stage, is in this button. Now, lastly, we also really encourage you to leave feedback. So if you run into an issue, if you really would like to see something implemented in this application, please leave us a feedback, and we would try as much as possible to fulfill the user needs and try to bring more features in this application in upcoming versions, which we are going to be developing as fast as possible. So leave us feedback, and this should be quick, and you can proceed back to your analysis. Now, of course, we have prompts, which allows you to browse through very simple prompts that can help you proceed quickly. So if I wanted to proceed with the analysis, I could say, please just Paul proceed with the analysis. And Paul is going to go back to the checklist and look through what needs to be completed and just proceed with that.